What's the motherfucking deal, Sauce Nation? Give me 1 second. I see the camera active. Y'all give me un segundo. We're going to get this together, and we're going to dive right into it. Y'all hold on one moment. Sorry about that. What's the motherfucking deal, Sauce Nation? I hope you guys are all having a good evening. Hope all is well, all is good, all is fine and dandy. Man, I apologize for the delayed intro. Had a couple of last second technical difficulties. We can get this bitch started till down there by 4 minutes in. So let me make sure I get the intro right. All right, cool. So, like I was saying, we are going to be talking about a couple of interesting things tonight. First and foremost, welcome to Sauce Sports. If you're not familiar with Sauce Sports is a Houston, Texas homer network, so that means we're talking all sports, but only Houston. But tonight we're going to take a little bit of time to dive into something I know that y'all been wanting to talk about for a little while now. Talk a little Texans and some things that are going on and some things that are taking place. So, we're gonna do a little speculation. We're gonna have a little fun tonight, man. And like I said, we got some of the Texans Tubers roundtable in the mix. How y'all doing this evening, fellas? And who we got in the mix with us tonight?
Go ahead, Burger.
Breaking news, Braylon. You already know. Breaking all your local, international, national.
It's Penny. I've been gone forever.
It's your boy Wise. Shout out to the Strolls, even though we got robbed last night.
Oh man, it happened to the best of. Happens to the best of them, man. Happens to the best of them. But y'all already know what it is, man. We're gonna dive into a couple of things, and we're gonna open up some speculation, and then we're gonna open up the sauce line a little later on, so y'all can call in, y'all can text in. You can text in now. I mean, the sauce line is always open for text. So if you want to text in and get your comments read on air, we will make sure to do that. But like I say, we want to talk about one thing before we get into all of this, and that's the freshest motherfucking ingredients in the world, and that means you, Sauce Nation. So you know how we do this thing, how we start this thing off with the motherfucking roll call. So that means we're gonna talk about you for just a second. You're going to represent where you're from. If you're not from the city, you let us know where you're from. If you are from the city, man, shout out your side with pride. I'm not going to go down a list of things that you can shout out about yourself tonight because we run a little bit behind. I want to make sure we talk about a lot of things tonight. So go ahead and represent where you're from, man, and I'll show you a little bit of love. Throw your sets up, do some of that little John shit, that old school shit, representing all that good shit, man. And while we're doing that, we just want to talk a little bit of little stuff around the NFL, around the town, and we're going to talk mainly football tonight, but it's going to be a couple of little things we're going to discuss. As we were getting into this, I heard something about the dead guy found in Janoris Jenkins, what was that, basement or something like that? Braylon, you or Wise, either one of you guys want to expand on that while I see who all we got in the mix tonight?
Go ahead, Brad.
I just know that he was found in his house. They say it was apparent homicide. It's under investigation. He was strangled to death, apparently. And Janoris Jenkins wasn't at his house. He was in Florida. And somebody apparently, saying that he was Janoris Jenkins' brother, said that he was trying to get to Florida to meet up with Janoris Jenkins. And in the process, he panicked because he didn't want to go on an airplane. So he didn't, fly to Florida. He stayed, apparently.
Okay, interesting. Airplane panic. And y'all don't mind me. I may puff my little black and mild here just a little bit. Look, I want to bring back some of the old school flavor to the sauce, but I took the 420 out. But let me shout everybody out real quick, and then we're going to deep dive into some of this stuff real quick. So shout out to Jason Ducey, Tex is the name, Heidi Kleindienst, Miss Voodoo C, Jerry Montalvo, Trey, what's the motherfucking deal? Always good to see y'all. Rigo, Rising Phoenix, the Upward Duck, a.k.a. the Dusty Chicken. Scrooston, what's the motherfucking deal? Hector Rodriguez, Houston, Texas in the motherfucking house. Man, my dog, 335 always going live. You already know what it is. 335 hold it down on every platform. That's my dog right there, man. I always got to spend a special shout out to 335. Of course, Wise in the chat and in the sauce. That's what I'm talking about. Darren Davis already. Marco's main account. That's an interesting name, main account. What about your subsequent accounts? But, Rigo. I see Tom Ball in the motherfucking mix. Let's see. Yes, sir. That is Tenny335. Spring in the mix. Scrooston with the looking eyes with your looking ass nigga. Cardinal Crew Gaming, what's the motherfucking deal? Jason, what's up? Shout out to Webster, man. The Slum 281 already holding it down. San Antonio, Saytown. Okay. I see y'all way down 10. Baytown, Dirty Bay, A-Leaf, Spring in the house. Okay. Let's see. Corpus in the motherfucking mix, a.k.a. Borpus Bristy. You know how I go down. Yeah. Dope Chef, what's the motherfucking deal? Bob the Sex Machine, man. Good to see you, man. Long time no see. Hope everything is well. James Harden with the MVP. What's the motherfucking deal? Already your boy Anthony in the house. Okay, holding it down. One more. Whiskey, some more holding it down already. Representing Toyota Center to bring back that MVP trophy already. You going to be back next year. I see you. But that's the motherfucking Asian Pikachu. My favorite of all the Pikachus. Except for maybe the Puerto Rican Pikachu. I don't know if that exists, but I'm just talking shit. But like I said, I want to talk about a couple of things. Now, Wise, you were about to say something. I think you were about to expand on that comment.
Oh, no. I was going to say, Wise always New York. Oh. You got my boy, Plexico Burrs, shooting himself in his leg. You just, in New York, you got Odell doing cocaine, I just don't get it with the Giants. They always got something going on.
All right, man. Special shout out to Chandler, man, hitting on the line. And says shout out to Wise. Shout out to Wise and Phoenix, even though Rise Phoenix ain't in the mix. Bray Wing Spits, Ray, Honcho. Chandler always showing love, man. Like I say, Chandler always holding down the sauce line. We might have to dedicate the sauce line to Chandler one day. We might do that this evening. We're gonna dedicate the sauce line to Chandler tonight.
Do it tonight.
It's a Chandler sauce line tonight. So, if anybody calls in, we'll make sure to address it as such. But I guess my ass need to open up the lines. Halftime I'll just be talking the whole time. I ain't been opened up the last few times, so I'll make sure I stay on that. So yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit. We're gonna talk mainly football. We're gonna talk a little Houston, and we're gonna talk a little Texans. But let's dive into the conversation, man. Arian Foster came out and made a comment about Deshaun Watson, talking about how talented he was and how much he would have enjoyed playing with him. And so I was think about that 2012 roster, and think about the talent. Think about that 12 and 14. Okay, and think about what we would have done if Deshaun Watson was at the helm. I mean, what would have been different in your minds? I have a few topics I want to touch on, but I want to know immediately. And we'll start with Tenny. We'll go in this order. We'll go Tenny, Bray, Wise. And what's the first thing that stands out to you? If Deshaun Watson was on that team, what would be the most immediate impact you believe he would have had?
Man, the most immediate impact we would have seen was Deshaun Watson keep us in the number 1 seed to take the AFC and make everyone come through our house. That's the number 1 thing that would have changed. Because if you think about it, we were in that race, and we were there. We had our opportunity to close it out, but we never finished it. And if Deshaun Watson would have been here, we would have closed out the number 1 seed position. We probably would have made to our first Super Bowl, and we probably would have clinched that bad boy.
Okay. All right. What about you, Bray?
The biggest, I don't think seeding was the biggest factor in it. I think it was more of the fact that Matt Schaub wasn't ready to face Patriots. So that Patriots game where we started off kind of, decent, better than we did in the regular season game against the Patriots. And then eventually it got out of hand to where we couldn't come back. We tried to come back. We couldn't do it. But at that time, the league wasn't able to kind of adjust to running quarterbacks. They had trouble with Colin Kaepernick. If they had trouble with Colin Kaepernick, it was for sure going to have trouble with Deshaun Watson.
Exactly. Okay. And what about you, Wise? What do you I just see a late comment to the sauce line from yesterday I'm going to have to talk about. So what about you, Wise? What do you feel would have been the biggest thing?
You would have had a team full of Hall of Famers. You would have had a Hall of Fame wide receiver in Andre Johnson, maybe a future Hall of Fame running back in Arian Foster. We could be talking about J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt is going to be a Hall of Famer sometime in his career. You have a legit defense that was in its prime at that time. You're talking about a team that could have dominated, that could have possibly went 14-2 or 16-0 that year. All we needed was a confident quarterback, and that was the year Matt Schaub actually was. He was doing all right. He was doing okay. He was doing pretty good. But when playoffs came, he kind of shrunk and folded.
Okay. I can definitely.
We needed that playmaker. So.
I definitely agree. I'm gonna run some numbers by y'all. Okay. I'm gonna run a couple of numbers by y'all, and I want y'all to tell me how big of an impact Deshaun Watson would have had on these numbers. Would they have been increased? Would they have been reduced? And we'll work backwards. We'll go wise to Tenny. And I want y'all to let me know what you think. So Andre Johnson that year had 112 receptions, damn near 1,600 yards, 1,598, with only 4 touchdowns. Owen Daniels, 62 receptions, 716 yards with 6 touchdowns. Arian Foster had 351 carries, 1,424 yards, 15 touchdowns, 40 receptions for 217 yards, and 2 TDs. Do you think the presence, or where do you see the presence of one Deshaun Watson affecting those numbers?
I mean, the numbers could improve because Deshaun Watson would actually have an O-line with that 2012 team. Exactly. We had Dwayne Brown, we had Ben Jones, we had Brandon Brooks, we had guys like that was interior guys and outside tackles.
Let me make an adjustment. It was Dwayne Brown, Wade Smith, I believe. Mm-hmm. Chris Myers is still.
Yeah, Chris Myers.
That's all I remember.
But I thought Brandon Brooks was there.
Yeah, he was. He got drafted that year.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know who that right tackle was.
But seeing that and having an O-line and having him to have time instead of running for his life on every play like last season, could you imagine a number that boy can put up? In 7 games, he can throw all those TDs and he can break all those records. Imagine with an O-line, with a great Hall of Fame receiver, with a great running game, because we don't have a great running game right now. Lamar Miller is not an Arian Foster in his prime. Let's be real here.
Okay.
Let's be real here.
I want to stop you for just a second. I'm glad. I don't know how to say that name, but Yggdrasil's child, whatever. You made a very good point. Something I wanted to talk about. Something I want to throw out there too. Is you say the numbers could improve, but Kubiak and Watson. Now we know what type of coach Kubiak was at that time before he went to Baltimore. Baltimore changed him a little bit. Then he went on to Denver to do some other shit. So I want y'all to keep that in mind too. The type of QB that Deshaun is, and then what Kubiak liked to do and how he liked to run that offense. But I'm gonna let y'all carry on. So sorry about that.
No, it's cool. I was pretty much done with my thought though.
Okay.
Hey, okay. So I got another. I sorry. It just thought about it because I just remember Kubiak was the master of play action.
Oh yeah. The first play of every game we would run a play action. The first play, you already know what's gonna happen. Play action pass.
Man. So you add that play action with a running quarterback, making the linebackers have to respect him, meaning that intermediate to mediate route will be wide open. Oh man, that's 50 points per game because you got Owen Daniels running that route. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was going to be my point before they said it in the comments. Is that Gary Kubiak, as bad as his run ended with us, if he would have had a player like Deshaun Watson sitting there at the quarterback position, it would have been lights out. I mean, I'm serious. Deshaun Watson would fit that zone running scheme with that West Coast hybrid that Kubiak liked to run. I mean, it would have been lights out. That's what I'm saying. Is like we wouldn't have ended. What was it? 12-4. We would have been like probably 14-2. I'm serious. We would have ended that season #1 seed in the AFC, unstoppable on offense, an absolute juggernaut on the defense. Because let's face it, man. Back then we had Connor Barwin, we had Brooks Reed, we had everyone firing on all cylinders, man. I mean that was back in Jonathan Joseph and Daniel Manning's prime. Like when they showed up to us, that defense flipped around in 2011. We had an even better defense in 2012. So I mean, it'd have been lights out.
Okay. Very interesting. Yeah, definitely. And those pieces, we did have some nice little pieces on defense. So how do you guys see the game going in the playoffs? You know, we end up facing, the Bungles and then moving on to the Patriots. Do you see us coming out of Foxborough successfully in that playoff game if Deshaun Watson would have been the quarterback?
Absolutely, 100%. I don't think anybody in the league could have been able to stop us, because if you think back to the Patriots then, that defense was not good enough to stop people from throwing up points, and our offense would have been that at that point at that echelon of just scoring 30 points. I mean, you got to think about it. As much as Bill O'Brien changed his plan to fit Watson, you got to look at it. Watson makes the coach just as much as any other quarterback out there right now. And you got to think about that and his talent level and what he does. He would have been perfect for a Kubiak's scheme. Like I said earlier, he'd have just been perfect for it. He would have been coming in there. You would have had to respect his dual threat ability. And then you would have looked at how the defense would have just been getting after Brady, because Brady was going to have to be forced to making plays. And we all know what happens when you put the pressure on Brady.
Okay. So we all agree that there's no 42-14 encounter. If Deshaun Watson is on the team, we don't have to live with that stain on the history of the Texans. That was the regular season game, the 42-14. But you think that still happens? That was the jacket game, wasn't it? Or was that the year before? Was the jacket game?
Yeah, that was the jacket game.
So let's before we move on, let's talk about that jacket game.
Yeah.
The Letterman jackets. Deshaun Watson gets a Letterman jacket. Do the Texans go in there and embarrass themselves in front of the entire world, or do they make the Letterman jackets a cool thing because they go in there and they blow out the fucking Patriots and every team in the NFL starts rocking them?
First of all, Deshaun Watson got too much swag to wear a Letterman jacket. Come on, we can't put that lame stuff on. Man, my dude be wearing Da Vinci.
Came out in a tuxedo, bro. Deshaun Watson a tuxedo the first game when his first start. So yeah, he was like, "Nah, I'm sorry, I support y'all, but I ain't wearing that."
Yeah, Deshaun Watson and PJ Tucker are the Texans. When it comes to swag. I'm being serious.
No, you got it.
Y'all need to quit. You know damn well he'd put that jacket on, laughing and giggling with everything. You forget who was on the team. Andre Johnson put that jacket on. Deshaun Watson looks at his number one receiver, his Hall of Fame legend receiver. He's gonna put that jacket on.
Okay. And one more thing before we get out of here, before we stop this topic, we change this topic. You gotta just think about it. Does Andre Johnson get a double-digit touchdown season with Deshaun Watson at the reins?
Oh, definitely.
Of course. Look at the quarterbacks he had to play with.
Deshaun Watson has played with multiple go up and get them, snag them wide receivers throughout his career already. Mike Williams, DeAndre Hopkins. There's some other I can't thinking about. Kane was to go up and get it sometimes when he feel like it. Didn't he have Sammy Watkins for at least one season?
He was a freshman. Yeah, he was a freshman.
He started his freshman year. I know that. So he had Sammy Watkins. So he's played with some receivers that get the ball every now and then, and when they feel like it, or a receiver that get it every time. So with knowing how Andre Johnson was the original toe drag swag king, just saying he was the original. He taught DeAndre Hopkins. So then you got D Hop being the toe drag swag king now. But yeah, man, talking about.
I forget who was there when because I think Jacoby Jones had left that season too. I think he was with Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't even remember who was our second receiver. I think Kevin Walter was still on the team.
Yeah, Kevin Walter.
Yeah, it's Kevin Walter.
The ultimate blocker.
Yeah.
They used to do my boy Kevin bad.
Yeah. They used to do my boy Andre Johnson bad. They used to talk about Calvin Johnson Andre Johnson not as good, not the number one receiver in the league. But to be unbiased, Andre Johnson was the best receiver in the league. And we're seeing the same thing with DeAndre Hopkins right now. I mean, he went through so many quarterbacks, so many trash quarterbacks. the one thing that Andre Johnson didn't have the opportunity to have is a consistent superstar quarterback. And DeAndre Hopkins is blessed. He should be blessed. He got to learn from one of the greatest receivers in the league, and now he's going to show out, and he's going to ball out and be the number one receiver in that season.
Well, honestly, DeAndre Hopkins is really a product of Andre Johnson. DeAndre Hopkins really isn't a product of Andre Johnson. He's more of a standalone character of his own. He brought his own skill sets.
Yeah, but you got to think about Andre Johnson mentoring him, giving that process and everything. Because a lot of guys don't develop like that. A lot of guys has the talent, but they never develop.
Yeah.
Well, no, that part of it came along. But as far as his skill set, he brought a different skill set than what Andre Johnson had. He had like way better hands than Andre Johnson. Andre Johnson just had size, frame.
But Hopkins has an advantage that nobody in the league has. He got the biggest hands.
Yeah, he got the biggest hands.
Okay. Yeah. I got a question for you. Somebody just sent something in on the Sauce Line. Shout out to Jay Dizzle. And Jay Dizzle asked something yesterday, and I missed it yesterday. I'm gonna put that up on a poll before the stream is over. So make sure y'all stay tuned. It'll be a Jay Dizzle poll before it's over. But he's got a question. Andre Johnson in his prime or Hopkins in his?
Hopkins in his prime. Okay. Here's why.
Wait.
Hopkins haven't hit his prime yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say.
That's what I was going to ask. Okay.
He hasn't hit his prime yet. So we've already seen Hopkins not in his prime be the best receiver in this league. Wait. So imagine Hopkins in his prime. He will be the best in the league.
Okay.
He will possibly have the best 3-year run of anybody that will ever have, especially if Watson is healthy during that time.
Don't get me wrong, but DeAndre Hopkins is only 24 years old, right?
Right.
All right. All right. He got another 8 years left.
Yeah, y'all young whippersnappers, if y'all ain't sitting down right now, I'll tell you right now, sit down. Andre Johnson. I don't know if y'all can remember this far back, if y'all weren't in the crayon box or not. But Andre Johnson was killing it, man. Killing it in his prime. And putting him with somebody like Deshaun Watson, I mean, you got to sit there and think about it, like really dig in your mind. What could Andre Johnson have done with a quarterback like Deshaun Watson? I mean, look at it, man. He had Derek Carr, or not Derek Carr, but David Carr for a little bit. He had Matt Schaub.
Orlowski.
He had T.J. Yates. Then he had Case Keenum. I mean, Andre Johnson
had Matt Lathard too. I can't pronounce the name.
Sage Rosenfels, helicopter.
Man, think about how many times did fucking Schaub underthrow Johnson on deep routes? How many times did Johnson have to come back for passes from Schaub and get caught up in that? That's why he didn't have as many touchdowns. I mean, because he never had a quarterback who could get him the ball. So I definitely agree with that, man.
Yeah, I'd have to go with Johnson. Yeah. I love D-Hop. I love his attitude. But Johnson, man, I mean, he had it all, bro. He had good hands. He didn't have better hands than DeAndre. He had good hands, but he also had size. He had speed. I've seen Andre Johnson truck dudes, man, like flatten them.
And he got those hands.
Yeah, and if anybody disagree with him, Andre Johnson gonna beat your ass. So there you go. Look, I saw Kevin Creep that say he got to whoop somebody. Hop got to whoop somebody first.
Just ask him quick. Caught that word.
Exactly.
We can't really have this discussion yet. We got to wait another 5 years. D-Hop is only 24 years old. He haven't even hit his prime yet. So,
yeah, Brandon, I already know that. That's when the motherfucker really running when you got that juice.
Hey, can I say this?
What's up?
If Andre Hopkins adds 20 to 30 pounds on and keep the speed that he got right now, do you think he'll be way better than Andre Johnson? Just saying.
I don't know. Because I don't think even with the speed that he's put on, because he seemed to have gotten a little fast. Because he stays in good shape, but I don't think he's as fast as Andre. I don't think he'll ever be as fast as Andre. Andre, that's still something that was underrated about Andre. Andre had wheels, dog. Like he ran perfect routes. He had wheels.
Miami won the national championship on the field and on the track. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean,
you know what? I could put it like this. DeAndre Hopkins, if he put size on him, it wouldn't change the fact that he couldn't compare it to the frame of Andre Johnson. It was like some Houston Texans fan prayed to God a long time ago when the Oilers was leaving, or beforehand when they heard about the Oilers leaving and said, I would like you to give us a receiver that would have the ideal body frame like Earl Campbell into a receiver spot. Because, I mean, up and down, Andre Johnson was a thick dude. He was wide framed. I mean, this is something that you don't get with a lot of receivers today because they're getting more slender. They're getting faster. They got to have those hands to get up and down the field. So, I mean, Andre Johnson, I mean, that's the last of a dying breed right there.
Yeah, definitely.
And my bad, DeAndre Hopkins is 26. He turned 26 last month. So,
he's still
not even last month, just 3 weeks ago.
Okay. You sure did have a birthday.
Still young, 26. I mean, who's all right? So minus Odell Beckham. I believe
Odell 25.
Huh?
Odell 25.
Okay, but that's a year younger than him. So hold on. Jones, let me just check out the quote unquote better wide receivers than him. All right, so Julio's 29. Antonio Brown, I think Antonio may be the same age. I'm not sure. Oh, never mind. Antonio's 29 too. So the two wide receivers that got voted ahead of him are 3 years older than him. Just saying, and they in their prime at 29.
And look who they play with at quarterback and been playing with at quarterback. Now,
Matt Ryan and Ben Roethlisberger. Now, I don't want to get too cocky here. I'm just saying, Deshaun Watson, most likely, if he stays healthy throughout his career, will be better than both those guys.
Okay. I mean, hey, I'm not gonna disagree with you on that one.
And I got one more thing. Andre Johnson didn't get his biggest season until his sixth season, which DeAndre Hopkins is entering this season. So he had 110 catches with 1,600 yards in his sixth season.
Okay. So let's talk about some, because you made a couple of references there, Braylon, to the top 100 and who the peers have ranked higher than him, which I think is, I saw Press Rouse say, and I definitely agree, is complete and utter bullshit. But let's talk about that. And we're going to talk about league-wide. I kind of want to just talk about some of the things and some of the guys. I want to know who y'all feel overall. It doesn't just have to be a Texan, because I told you I felt Watt kind of probably shouldn't have been on the list, not because of Hayden, just because of production. But yet somehow you saw Wentz get like a top pick. You saw Julio get a top pick. These guys didn't complete a season. Even what's his name, Watson, he bet half season, about halfway up the list. Who do you feel was the most overrated player in the top 100?
Y'all go first.
Okay.
Most overrated player. That's tough.
And Sauce Nation, make sure y'all in the chat, because like I said, hey, y'all are part of this too. I want to know what y'all think also.
So I got it. I got it. Odell Beckham was in top 30, I believe. Mm-hmm. The man played 2 games. I'm just saying. Now, Watt played a couple more than that, but he wasn't top 30.
Yeah.
No, he was top 75, something like that. So I'm just saying, at this point, Odell Beckham was the most overrated player on the top 100. Just 2 games. But it's all about, it's voted by the players. So you can't, because the players don't take in fact of your past season and what you did in that season. They take in fact that you will always be a dominant player and you will always receive that attention.
So do you think they need to adjust that? I mean, because I think that, you got up and coming players who may, this may have been their first solid season, who may get overlooked because they don't have that history. And there's guys who really didn't achieve that much this season, because Julio only had three touchdowns this year. And they had him ranked above Hopkins. I mean, like in the crazy things that these people say. And I know that they say that this is voted on by their peers, but I really, truly, honestly don't think that they sit down and give it here. Well, here's 100 names, or name 100 people. Ain't no nigga for to sit down and do that shit, dog. They're gonna name a couple of people that they like. They may ask them. Maybe they give them a couple of ranking by give them some positions and tell them to put some names in. I can see that, but I just think that it has to be a flawed rating system on here. One, because again, these being your peers, you're going to look at them favorably. You know, you're going to bring into account all the old stuff they've done. You're going to think about old plays and shit they made. Then these motherfuckers get their head knocked on every play. They ain't going to remember half the shit they talking about. They're going to think these seasons running into each other. They ain't going to remember what happened what year. So I think that some of this shit to me is overrated, man. It's just
I just don't understand how Alex Smith didn't make the top 100 because Kansas City did ball out. You got to give that man that props. Even though they traded him, that man did put up some fantastic numbers. Didn't they start off like 6-0 or something like that crazy? They was balling out for a while.
You got to look at it too, because like when they played us, I think they went 3 quarters without missing a third down. Like seriously, like, they were on money a lot through those first 6 games.
And it's crazy he didn't even make the top 100.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, now, although I'm gonna say this. Kareem Hunt, you know, who's the only one that was able to slow him down at the point. But yeah, it's disappointing because he improved his game overall. He became a deep threat as a quarterback.
Listen to the stats. He threw for 4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions with a 104.7 rating.
Hey, now check Aaron Rodgers' stats because he was top 20, I believe.
Yeah, Randy, but he was top 20. I thought he was like top 10 or something.
Aaron Rodgers was on point this year too. I mean, until his injury, I mean, he wasn't having a bad season.
Yeah, he had 16 TDs and 6 interceptions for 1,600 yards, but he was hurt. So,
yeah, through what, 7 games, right?
Yep.
And Jay Dizzle said, "Ask Cortland Finnegan who got the best hands."
Wait. Okay, they make it worse. Rodgers was top 10. Thank you, real family.
Yeah, it don't make it worse. I mean, come on, it's Aaron Rodgers though, man. Like
okay,
these are players voting on him. They're going off.
What you're saying is that Julio should be the third, second best receiver. Should be that top 5, right? That's what you're saying.
No. What I'm saying is that this is all about reputation. This list ain't about time.
Yeah, because JJ made it every year he was hurt. I ain't gonna even lie.
Yeah, it's all about reputation. It's how you treat guys throughout the league, and it's obvious that all these players that are voted on this list is how they treat the other players around them. So that goes to say a lot about Alex Smith's character and his own teammates not even being enough to get him on there.
Yep.
And that dude's had a lot of teammates through this whole career he's had.
Yeah, Michael Thomas didn't make it either, and he balled out last season.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's see. Now, what was it? Something else? Okay, it was a very interesting conversation that was brought up, and something that was mentioned, and we were going to talk about. Right now, we have some talent on the Texans. We have some very interesting characters. We have some very interesting players we picked up in the limited draft that we had. And we have some guys on the roster that we may be sleeping on. And I know the number one answer, so we're going to leave Deshaun Watson out of this. But who do you guys see this season being the Texans MVP?
Wait, you saying that Watson is excluded, right?
Yes, Watson is excluded because he's obviously going to be the people's choice. But who do you guys see being?
D-Hop. I'm going to go with it, D-Hop, because I think D-Hop is going to be challenged the most throughout this season. D-Hop is going to be the one that's going to be keyed in on the most out of everyone on our team offensively. I think it's everyone's goal to stop D-Hop from being effective outside of Watson.
The MVP of the team, I believe, is going to be Tyrann Mathieu. I think he is going to really help the secondary, not just as a safety. He will help put players in their right spot. So if Aaron Colvin don't know where he's supposed to go, he'll put him right in the right position. If Justin Reed is lost a bit, he'll put him there. If Kareem is lost because he's not a safety, he'll put him there too. So I think he will be the MVP because he'll be the leader of the secondary, knowing that they will try to pass over us and not run on us because they can't run on us. Healthy.
And all I'm gonna say is, if it's a big if, it's like a huge if. If J.J. Watt can get 15 sacks, if J.J. Watt can be dominant like J.J. Watt 3 years ago, J.J. Watt can win MVP. Just off of sympathy. Just off of sympathy.
Man,
I'm gonna say it like this: if J.J. Watt gets up to 15 sacks, or even gets close to 20 sacks, I swear to God, I'm gonna carry around 3 bottles of baby powder with me all the time, and I'm gonna smack any bitch in the mouth that dares question his fucking talent again, or ever says that he ain't a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna say he's gonna get 20, but right, so if he is like in there.
Well, that's why I said like between 15 to 20. I mean that's high for a guy coming off of two bad injuries.
A back injury and a knee injury. Then that I would certainly for sure put him over LT and Reggie White as best defensive player, because to come off of that and you playing a position that relies on your knees and your back. That means you something special. That means that you're a generation talent. Maybe a once in a history, not lifetime, once in a history.
And you know what I want to point out too? Everyone that talks shit about him in the offseason, you know what he does? He tags Whitney Merciless, and Whitney Merciless turns it on in the offseason. So as long as we always got somebody stepping up, I don't give a fuck about the offseason or the postseason. I'm sorry, I don't want to hear none of that shit. Like, when we go into the playoffs and J.J. Watt's only got like 1.5 sacks, I don't give a fuck. That means they keying in on him and trying to stop him.
Yeah.
He got the biggest pick six in Texans franchise history.
Yeah. Okay, I see Steve J saying Tyron will. I see everybody talk about Xavier Suafilo. Yeah, when we play the Titans, he'll definitely be the MVP for the Texans. And also, I agree with you, Devontae Love. We can't sleep on Reggie White. You know, there's a couple other names, that we definitely got to show some love to. Let me see. Sua Fish Fillet. Get the Mal is a true MVP.
I'm gonna also say his name real quick.
What's that?
I believe, although he won't be considered as an MVP, I think the MVP will also possibly be Nick Martin. Because he will be the anchor of that line. He will be the leader of that line. Although he's not the oldest, he has the most potential, most talent, and he's reliable. There's very few times that you see a guy that didn't play his first season and was kind of undervalued in his draft, and he comes out and do the things he did, especially in that Chiefs game. He came over there and laid, who was that, Justin Reed out? It was Justin Reed or D4. It was one of those guys. He laid him out. Watson was about to get killed, and if it wasn't for him, man, Watson would have got hurt that week.
Look, I can agree with that, especially if things go the way I think they're going to be. I think we're going to have a running back by committee this year. And if those guys collectively can put up 1,200, 1,400 yards, then, yeah, the leader of that offensive line is going to get that nod.
Okay. Speaking of that, speaking about running back by committee, let's holler at Toxic City Tenny, man. Let's talk about a guy from your hometown. When do you see Foreman being 100% ready to go?
When do I see him being 100%? I think they're probably going to ease him back. I'd say after the first month of the regular season, we'll start to see him having more of a bigger role in this team, because they're going to need somebody to spell Miller and really get the reps off of him, because Miller's good, but you got to keep his dose down.
Okay. And Bray Wise, how do y'all feel when y'all see Foreman being ready to contribute? As a matter of fact, did y'all see him getting back to kind of where he was literally right before he got in? Because to me, that was his breakout game, and he was really showing his skill set that game. And then, the Achilles injury happened. Do you see him getting back to that, at least to that, if not beyond that? But do you see him getting back to that level this season?
So I'm gonna just go off the eye test right now, because they say that they may think he may be a bit behind. He's still working out with, he's working out doing exercises that really, need your Achilles, working out with Lamar Miller. I think he may be a bit behind, but not as much as behind as people think. I think he may come around week 3, week 4. He'll be coming off the bench, of course, coming for every now and then, second down here, second down there. Like, he won't be the first and third down back for sure. I'm going to say this because we're talking about running backs. Don't sleep on the Texans picking up Kareem Hunt. Akeem Hunt. Akeem Hunt. They got the same last name. They from Toledo. They both went to Toledo. So hey, but they released they waived him last week, I believe. So he's free. So hey, it's a possibility.
Yeah, now I know that's a guy a lot of people liked. And
that's why. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for interrupting the song. The Brian McCann just slow. He's just slow.
So I don't see him coming back week 1 and just balling like that. He probably I don't even see him playing week 1, to be honest. I see him coming back around week 3, like Braylon was saying, week 4, around that time. I mean, you don't want to rush an Achilles injury, especially at a running back, because you got to make those cuts. He got to bounce and everything like that. And that guy, he had a lot of potential. He broke Ricky Williams' record at UT. So that tells you a lot about that guy. When the Texans picked him up, as soon as he got drafted, I said that guy's going to take over the starting running back position. But with this injury, I want them to take their time because we're going to need him in the playoffs. We know we're going to playoffs this season, so don't rush back nobody.
Okay. I don't want to say nothing, but I've been keeping quiet on this because it's under wraps. But we've had 2 other players in the league from down in this area go into the league and get Super Bowl rings. I'm just saying, I think Foreman is that lucky charm. Okay. All right, because we had Casey Hampton from the Ball High Tornadoes down in Galveston. He ended up playing on the Steelers and got a ring. We had a fullback that played for the Patriots at one point, right around in that 2001 season. I forget what it was, but he was on the team and he got a ring. So we generate winners down here.
Okay.
Too bad Mike Evans not gonna get a ring though, because James.
James out there tripping. Yeah. All right. So while we get, like I say, the sauce line is open. It's like I say, we go live for a couple of more minutes. If anybody wants to call in, share their thoughts, we'll definitely take your call. Around the NFL, any interesting news that you guys want to speak on? Anything interesting that has crossed your eyes that you want to make mention of that's been going around the NFL?
No, the only news I've been seeing is NBA, and that's been crazy. But it's Texas roundtable.
Okay.
So, hey.
All right. Well, we were talking about Foreman for a second. So, do you guys see, even though with the injury, do you guys see him before the end of the season taking over the starting role?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. So before the injury, he was the starter. After that, come November, or around November, he'll most likely be the starter again.
Okay. As much as I want to get on his bandwagon, I got to hold myself off. I think his abilities kind of are the opposite of what Miller can do. Foreman can get up in the middle and hit those holes and keep pushing through guys, where Miller really can't. And I think what's going to limit him is just I don't think he's going to get the reps he needs to be able to make that kind of impact. But I think I could see him, if he can get back on the field, at least by the 3rd or 4th week.
Okay,
pushing maybe 600, 800 yards.
Take this real quick. Make sure we got the right action. What's the motherfucking deal? We got calling in on the sauce line tonight.
What's up? This is Devontae Love.
Devontae, what's the motherfucking deal?
Hey, I just got back from deployment, and I want to let y'all know I've been fucking with the sauce for a while. I'm calling in because I want to say something about Deshaun Watson. I want to ask y'all something. Throughout the history of the Houston Texans, we've been having bad luck with the head coaching position. For example, when Gary Kubiak decided not to sign Peyton Manning for the Houston Texans, which easily couldn't have gotten us a Super Bowl. So the question I have for y'all is, do y'all think that it's just we had a lot of bad luck with the head coaching position?
Okay. That's the bet. I'm gonna hang up and we're gonna speak on that. I appreciate you calling in, man. Devontae been fucking with the flavor for a minute, man. I'm glad you called in. Thank you for calling.
Hey man, salute to you, and thank you for your
service.
Yeah, appreciate that, bro.
Absolutely. The sauce number is right at the bottom of the thing. But what I think is, I think we've had some head coaches because we always get these first timers and these guys who are kind of new at the position. I think they're learning on the job. Kubiak, I think that was just a dumb fucking decision because and that's why I have beef with Kubiak, because then he went on to go win with Peyton when we could have had that same opportunity here with what I felt was a more talented team. But I don't know about. I think we just got coaches who are not as experienced in, you know, encountering certain situations, and they just kind of just make the wrong decision, and it definitely affects us. How do you guys feel about that?
I think we got old school mentality coaches. I think last year taught Bill O'Brien a lot of lessons as far as the talent he has. But I mean, if you look at Kubiak and O'Brien, they want to run the ball first. They want to establish the run at any means cost. Even if we getting our asses handed to us in the game, they want to keep trying to establish the run. Where they need to start getting away from that idea and start fighting fire with fire and putting that ball in the air and just letting what happens. And I think that's part of the problem, is that we got a lot of old school mentality football guys coaching the team.
And I was listening to the Bill O'Brien interview yesterday on 610, and he said what he was saying was that he had to get away from that mentality because he knows this has been affecting his coaching and his team's ability to succeed. He was saying he can't be rough on guys anymore. He has to lats up. He has to be have more of a relationship with the team because it hinders guys' success. And I guess what Brandon Brooks kind of said may have been true when he was first here. So.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, though. But like, I'm not opposed to how he came in the door, and I think, like I say, I like Bill O'Brien because I was listening to a little bit of that too, and just some of the stuff he said. He was talking about some books and things that he read. I think Bill O'Brien ultimately he wants to be a good leader, and he's learning how to be a leader, especially when you're dealing with other grown ass men and their personalities. Because you could tell back when he was arguing with Brady, he didn't have that right leadership mentality. When he was at Penn State, you're dealing with young kids, man, so it's a different game because, you know, they're going to look up to you no matter what because you're the coach. But when you're talking about the NFL, you're talking about pros who have dealt with other coaches who have had way more experience. You have guys who may have been in the league longer than he's been coaching. I think that respect factor is almost, it has to be earned. And I think he came in the gate with this Patriots mentality where he's like, okay, we're going to clear everything out. You know, everything's about the team. We're going to, you know, kind of make it one unit. We're getting rid of the names and we're not going to put these special awards up here. You know, and I think he did that in an effort to kind of to show maybe present this dominance or just show that, hey, you know, this is a big culture change or whatever it may be. But that's something I have noticed too. How you said he has to be more lax. Like everybody's been saying he's been more relaxed. Like he's having fun. He's wearing goofy ass hats and shit at practice and just kind of a lot of different things. And so I don't want to tie it all in. Oh, it's Rick Smith. You know, it's not all that. I think it's taken that he's gotten that opportunity. He's gotten that extension. I think that kind of took a little bit of pressure off his plate, and I think he had to adopt a different look. He's like a whole different. I mean, it's a different team with Deshaun Watson. This is a different team you're dealing with because that personality in itself just changes everything. And I think a little bit of Deshaun rubbed off on him because you see how much of a hard worker Deshaun is, but at the same time, it's like he's carefree. You know what I mean? It's like he goes out and he just does his thing. It's not he doesn't let the pressure break him. He goes out and he does his thing, and I think that rubbed off on B.O.B. some. That's just my opinion.
And you got to think about it too. Like in B.O.B.'s personal life, man, you got to think about the stress he's under constantly. Like, you know, with his son being special needs like he is, and like the special needs that his son is. I mean, his son could die at any moment.
Oh, I don't mean to cut you off, man. Let me take this call in coming on the sauce line real quick. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got called in on sauce line?
This is Chandler, and I got a question for the roundtable, and also you. I'm just wondering if you know Bill O'Brien can outcoach Bill Belichick, Del Barone, or the other coach from the Eagles. If he can outcoach them, we will be able to win some games. That's my question to you guys.
My fault. I had the volume on my end was a little bit low, so I caught what you're saying. He needs to outcoach, I guess, some of these better head coaches. Is that kind of what the question was?
That's my question.
Okay, all right. Thank you for calling, man. Chandler, shout out to Chandler, man. Always holding down. Yeah, this is the Chandler sauce line this evening. So shout out to Chandler for holding it down, man. I always appreciate you calling in and staying very active on the sauce line. I'm gonna hang up and we're gonna answer that.
All right, bye.
I do believe that's a very good point, though, that dealing with a lot of these, I mean, there's superior coaching to what Bill O'Brien brings to the table. Let's just be honest. You know, there's been plenty of times that we've seen in his career where he's been out-coached in the most critical moments of games, or he's made bad clock management decisions.
That's true.
And so I'm hoping, like I say, what he's talking about, he's kind of releasing some of that pressure. Maybe that frees his mind up a little bit. Maybe it doesn't have him panicking or overthinking certain situations. Now that he knows what he has on his hands in Deshaun Watson, I think he's going to let some other things fly, like you said, that he needs to kind of take advantage of their skill sets. I'm not going to say that I can't vouch for him and say, oh yeah, he's definitely going to outcoach these guys, but yeah, he has to prove himself against better coaching. I mean, it's easy to dominate in the AFC South, or it has been up until this point. Last year the injuries and everything, but he's going to have to prove that he can do it outside of the division also if we want to get to that next level. So I definitely think so.
I think Bill O'Brien has learned how to use. Okay, so the Seahawks game showed me a lot of things, and I watched it a couple of more times after it happened. He was starting to really learn how to use Watson, and I think that's when it started to get fun for him. And you can tell, he can tell that Deshaun Watson worked better off of play action, and when there's a lot of movement in the backfield, especially when you have a high caliber of secondary that the Seahawks had. So at that point, he was really enjoying coaching Deshaun Watson. So realizing that, I think he's going to be a better coach on the offensive end, and maybe have maybe be more focused with timeouts and calling them at the right times. And I really do think that we will see possibly the best Bill O'Brien we'll see.
From his time of getting here in Houston up until last year, Bill O'Brien wasn't put into situations like that where you had to be prepared to call those timeouts, and you had to know what you had, and you had to have plays already ready to go. I think, like Braylon was saying, is just you're at that point right now where I think his playbook and practice is going to run something like, we're going to run this play if we're at this time, and we got 6 seconds left on the clock. We're at the 40-yard line. This is the progression of plays that we're going to run. And I think he's going to start setting that offense up more for those situations and just trusting them with the overall game plan and the playbook he puts together for them.
Okay. Man, appreciate that love, Devontae Love. I appreciate the love from Devontae Love. That's what's happening. Like I say, calling in, donating to the super chat, man, holding it down, POP style. Okay, sorry about you. You got a thought there?
No, I was just gonna say another thing is he's just gonna have to trust Watson in those situations. He has no option this season. This season he's gonna let Watson take over the offense. There's no doubt about what he can do. Just like what Tenny said, just like what Bray said, Watson taking over this offense. It's his team now. Bill O'Brien's just gonna take the backseat and just run the plays.
All right, we got a call coming in on the sauce line. I'm gonna take this real quick. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the sauce line tonight?
Watson has left humanity behind. He should embrace it proudly.
Okay. Hola.
¿Cómo está?
De nada.
What did he say? It was like fucking Drogo on the phone.
Line. It's what is it, Cerrado? Fucking around. But no, just fuck with y'all, man. I have no idea what this shit says, so there's that. We got somebody calling back here. Hold on real quick. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in the sauce line?
So this is Devontae Love again. I'm calling. This may be off topic a little bit, but I feel like the Texans are not getting, the respect that they deserve. I want to talk about DeAndre Hopkins and where he should be ranked. I personally think he should be number one, just because he played through a lot of quarterbacks, and I personally agree that AB is just a product of Big Ben. Like, how do I feel about that? Really, I think the Texans are slept on.
Okay. All right, we're going to talk about that. Appreciate you calling back, Devontae, man. Good point, man. Very good point. Again, like I say, we live in this society, where people don't really deep dive into the facts as to what's really going on. We look at numbers, and I try to tell people, statistics, I'm not a big stats guy. I'd rather look and see what actually happened, what's actually taking place, because the numbers don't tell the whole story. Maybe in baseball, like I say, it's kind of more accurate in baseball. You can kind of go by the numbers and tell what's going on. Because they account for errors and things like that. But I think when you're talking about football, it doesn't work as just a stats game. But what you have is so many people, so many analytics type people who look at it only for the numbers. And I think that's what you get a lot of these AB fans, ABs, this, that, and the third. But again, look at the guys that's playing with him, because I know that a lot of people say, well, fuck, Hopkins gets a shit ton of targets, so of course he should have catches. But, okay, let's think last year when it was 17 targeting him. Would you rather have 150 targets from 17 or 75 targets from Brady? I mean, it matters who's throwing the ball. I mean, you're talking about the accuracy. You're talking about, putting it in range. I mean, Hop can catch anything that's in the vicinity pretty much. But, I mean, it depends on who's throwing you the ball. And we see, like, when Watson came in, he throws a much more catchable ball. A lot of these guys, their numbers have gone up because the passes are much nicer. It takes two to tango. When you're talking about football, receivers can't throw the ball to themselves. And I definitely agree with you that I feel like Hopkins has been – and this is not bias. This is not anything else. I think that Hopkins is a better receiver. I really do.
Yeah, it really comes down to it is that Hopkins is the most talented receiver in the NFL right now, period. End of discussion. I don't want to hear about Antonio Brown. I don't want to hear about Odell. I don't want to hear about anybody else. DeAndre Hopkins is the best and most talented receiver in this league, but the only reason that national media don't give him the attention is because he hasn't led the league in receiving yards and he hasn't led the league in touchdowns at his position.
Yes, he has.
He's led the league. No, I'm talking about at the end of the season. He's been number one over everyone.
Oh, he was number one over everyone in touchdowns
this year. Nobody else got more touchdowns.
I think he had the most touchdowns this year. He led the league, I think, touchdowns this year.
All right, so I'm wrong on that one, and I'm not up to date, so I'm stupid. Mm-hmm. But it's because he hasn't really done that shit at a consistent level like Antonio Brown, and he hasn't had the back-to-back-to-back spectacular catches that the national media glorifies like Odell Beckham. That's why he's not in that conversation. That's why they always mention him as, he rounds out the top 3 receivers in the league. That's why people always put that little asterisk next to him.
And that's
I've been seeing
the
last 3 weeks. I've been seeing a lot of DeAndre Hopkins on ESPN, on NFL Live, and I've been seeing him on Good Morning America a lot. So that might change this upcoming season because of Deshaun Watson.
Exactly.
See, a lot of players, a lot of receivers, they get their rankings because of the quarterbacks. They like tandems. The media, they like Ben Roethlisberger to AB more than just AB. They like Eli Manning to Odell Beckham because it's Eli Manning and then it's New York. So let's be real.
Okay. Another thing I talk about too is is also when you're looking at these receivers, look at that whole receiving core. I mean, look at what AB has around him. Look at the other receivers he's had. Look at what Hopkins has had. Fuller's halfway there. Fuller's a part-time receiver. It seemed like he gets injured and when he's there, he's working hard and he's putting in the work and it's good. But when he's not, I mean, shit. Who has a harder job? Who has a harder job playing receiver than DeAndre Hopkins with no second receiver? I mean, my thing is, there's so many little factors. That's why I say football is a different game. You can't just look at the numbers. I think AB ended up having a couple of hundred more yards overall. With something like that. But the thing about that is, you played with Ben the whole time. You had Ben Roethlisberger, a Hall of Fame quarterback before anybody knew your fucking name. You know what I'm saying? Won the big game before anybody knew who you were, before you were relevant. Doing it with guys who were no longer on the team.
And then also, I think his cornerback competition wasn't as tough as D-Hop was this year.
Yeah. Hop's going 2 times a year. He's going to go up against, in my opinion, as much as I don't like the Jags, as much as I don't care for him. Let's be realistic. Ramsey is the top-notch corner, man. Like, I mean, he's one of the best in the league, if not continue to be one of the best in the league. And
who's like right behind him is AJ Boye. That's 1 and 2, the best 2 cornerbacks in the league.
And we can't lie. In the last couple of years, past years, Vontae Davis was pretty good too for the Colts. Yeah, that was their best corner.
And so that's what I say. Hop has done it without help, with more pressure, shittier quarterbacks. But again, people don't look in those factors. They look at what ESPN tells them, and that's the thing. And that's what it really boils down to. We're not an ESPN media darling down here in Houston, so we're not going to get a lot of that TV time. And most people get their information, most people get their facts, alternative facts, from ESPN. You know what I mean? And ESPN, what their job, ESPN is they're not a sports company, is what people don't realize. ESPN is a stats They're all about statistics. That's what they do, and then they implement a little bit of sports talk into it. And so, like that's what I say. If they're not talking about it, people aren't going to pay attention. People aren't going to do their own due diligence and say, well, hey, what the fuck was going on down here with this guy? Why is his number so good? And we never hear about him, and then really look into it and to see what it is. But again, like I say, we know what's shaking. We know what's really going on. And yes, appreciate that, Ms. Vusi, man. Hit that like button, man. And if you guys are not following on the other social media, man, follow that Sauce Sports HTX on Twitter. Follow Sauce Sports HTX on Instagram. I gotta get my clout up on the other social medias, man. We gotta try to make something shake, man. We're gonna do this thing big. We gotta do this for the city. So LOL Cal.
You gotta think about, out of the 6 games AB plays a year, he plays the Browns twice, who lost Joe Hayden last season to the Steelers. He plays Baltimore, whose secondary is just purely trash. And then he plays the Andy Dalton. He played Cincinnati, which D-Hop's always dominated against.
Okay. Now, Cincinnati has a nice little cornerback in William Jackson III.
Oh, man. William Jackson got exposed a couple times. Let's be real now. Let's be real. Even though he's from the H.
William Jackson?
William Jackson III got exposed. I watched a lot of games, and he got exposed, fam.
I mean, all right, but he still didn't have.
Braylon, I'm gonna put it like this, man. That's the first name. This is the first time I ever heard him.
Because he had to. All right.
I compare William Jackson to Adoree Jackson.
That's a bad
hey, bro, don't disrespect, bro. Don't disrespect the hometown kid that played for the U of H Cougars, then got drafted out of U of H. Just saying.
Well, that's fine, but he been awfully quiet.
Yeah, that's the same thing with dude that play for the Jaguars now. They got drafted number 5 by the Raiders.
Okay, so Hayden was straight up.
Hayden, yeah, DJ Hayden.
Hayden was ass out of college. He was ass in college. Now he just got love because of his heart surgery. Hey, still he didn't have to face Richard Sherman. He didn't have to face AJ Boye and Ramsey twice. Vontae Davis. Who else? Pat. Bro, nobody is really able to lick the body and kill Patrick Peterson. But D-Hop bodied and killed Patrick Peterson multiple times. Just saying.
Yeah, they look bad. Okay. All right, check that hard. Yeah, but like I said, we saw what Hop did to the Ravens single-handedly. The motherfucker had a fucking WWE match and shit with that. So here's the deal, man. I want to say shout out to Sauce Nation. I want to say shout out to those of us who were able to join with the round table tonight. I know some other folks had asked in, but like I say, we're just trying to keep everything a little bit more legit. So, keep everything timely. I know people get confused and get lost when we have people jumping in and out and all that other stuff. So, a couple of folks just got the message a little bit late. So we'll do something again soon for those who weren't able to join in tonight. But I want to thank you, everybody who was here. So shout out to Tenny, Bray, Wise. And make sure you go and show these guys some love. Make sure you check out their channels. Links in the description box. No excuses. So I want to tell you guys first, make sure you follow on the other platform, Sauce Sports HTX on Instagram and Twitter. Ed Honcho on Instagram and Twitter. We'll be having a Kush Den at 9:30. So heads up for that if y'all don't get the notification. Yeah, and then I had a little situation. I want y'all to check out the Instagram because I want a couple of more opinions on that because I posted something on there because I came across something today. And I saw some other people, you ain't the only person that ever did a vintage logo like that. That's not what it's about. It's not about, I never said I was the first person to do a vintage logo. But I came across something that was super similar, and it's just because the whole title, the look, and everything else that is. I mean, I want y'all to let me know if I'm tripping or if something's just a little suspect. So check out the Instagram if y'all don't mind after the stream and let me know how y'all feel about that. And then I got a little homework for y'all if y'all fucking with it, man. Tag 10 friends on the Sauce Sports Instagram. We've got to get these numbers up, man. I'm trying to really push this for the city this year and really, get into this season with a splash. Got a lot of things planned. And what's starting to bother me is because I have a lot of things in mind that I want to do, but I want the numbers to get up because, we still got a relatively solid following, but it's some things that I don't want to rehash, if things would grow. And it's some things that I think would be pretty cool, but I'm starting to see a lot of these big names or people with a lot larger followings doing a lot of similar activities to some of the stuff I got going on. How people see things. People look at the bigger number and feel like, oh, that's the more valid source or whatever it is, just because it has a larger number in the follow column. So I'm really trying to work on getting those numbers up, but I appreciate if y'all show some love with that shit. So that's all I'm saying is that check that out. Let me know what I'm thinking. You gonna be doing a live stream after the thing? Okay, check out Wink. Wink gonna have a live stream going on after that. That's a BET. So make sure y'all check that out. Yeah, like I say, I just want to make sure I wasn't tripping. You know what I'm saying? It's like I say, I know there's a lot of similar things that happen in life, but something about that is just a little too similar. You know what I'm saying? It's just too.
I'm ready to rap.
Yeah. So, but what like I say, everything else. You guys got anything you want to say before we slide up out of here?
I wanted to say that Deshaun Watson was ranked the fifth in MVP odds by Vegas. So he was tied fifth with some big names. And I want to shout out to everybody in this stream. Y'all keep supporting everybody on this page. Shout out to Tenny. Shout out to Ray. Shout out to Bray. Shout out to Paris. Shout out to Darren. Shout out to Wink. Shout out to all my dudes. We all put in work. We do this for free. We're giving y'all entertainment. We're giving y'all the most updated news with real news, not fake news. And we from the H. So make sure y'all support every single one of us.
Yeah, man, definitely pay attention to my channel come August, because let's face it, training camp don't start till the 25th of July. So about August is when my channel is going to start gearing back up, getting ready for the off season. Definitely hit me up if you want to talk shit to other fans, man. I get them going. I'm telling you right now, you come to my channel, you get in that comment section, it's gonna be a war. Bring your H-Town gear, because that's what I'm repping, and I'm gonna be shutting motherfuckers up. So y'all get ready for the shit talking. That storm is coming. And do like Ed said, share this shit with 10 people. Then tell them to share it with 10 people.
Exactly. Man, that TTC shit, man. Yeah, y'all. Excuse me, I'm burping and shit. Y'all gotta fuck with that shit, man, because I can't lie. That's one of the things that definitely motivated the sauce. It definitely got me stirring up some flavor, dog. That shit there, I can't wait. That shit gonna have me wired up, ready to fight somebody, man. Goddamn. Look, we lucky Kenny don't talk a lot of basketball, because if he had some TTC shit and went around for the Rockets and the Warriors was going on, I'd be in jail right now, man. He'd probably have me fired up, stomping downtown, beating up.
I'm telling you, don't go to the bar during the Cowboys game. Don't go to the bar. Oh, it's gonna be a guaranteed fight, because you're gonna be hyped.
Oh man, look, yeah, we might.
Hey, Wise and Hunter, take Twitter real quick, but just continue.
Okay, look, yeah, we might have to find a way to do some. We might have to do some sauce on demand whenever the motherfucking me. Whenever the motherfucking me. Whenever that game come through, man. Let me see what they talking about. Hold on.
We're gonna have to do it. We're gonna have to do a live pregame at the Texan Stadium. We're gonna have to be there at 8:00 in the morning, interviewing fans and stuff like that.
Then we have to pull up Odo, man. They definitely have to pull up Odo, man.
Give out some sauce shirts.
Yeah, make shake. Like I said, guys, we got some things definitely planned for the season. I know the football is really what stirs everything up, and I know that's what everybody really likes. So when the season gets back rolling around, we're gonna do some real interesting stuff. But we gotta get these numbers up, man. So it's time to take this. Look, like U of H got the H-Town takeover. When it comes to sports media, Sauce Sports and Sauce Nation, look, we trying to do something different, man. We trying to give people a different flavor. So with that being said, man, I ain't gonna hold y'all too long. Wink got something coming up live. Make sure y'all check that out. And shout out to everybody, man, who showed love. Shout out to Devontae Love. Shout out to Chandler for calling in, stirring up some sauce on the sauce line. Everybody who texted in, Jay Dizzle. If I forget you, man, no hard feelings. It just be a lot going on sometimes, and sometimes I be forgetting. Yeah, shout out to Steve J, man. Steve J just be keeping me up to date with a lot of good information. And so, man, like I say, just man, Sauce Nation, y'all the freshest motherfucking ingredients in the world. Like I say, I sincerely appreciate all the love y'all do be showing, and just like I say, the fucking time, man, because time is the asset that you can never recoup. And the fact that y'all come through and fuck with the sauce, man, that's sincerely appreciated. Don't ever think I take that for granted, because I don't. But with that being said, man, y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Don't chuck up the deuce. Y'all stay saucy. Until next time, we out.